After school activities or activities on the weekend, whether it's sport or theatre or arts and crafts, they build our children into fully formed adults. They give independence, they develop more skills, they give enjoyment to everything we do. So why is it so difficult to find these sort of activities when your child is autistic? Keep watching. I'm going to tell you 3 ways of how we made sure Reese, my son, could take part in those after school activities. This is A&Me, I'm Mags, and I share from a parenting perspective how I parent my son Reese, who's autistic. So please check out my channel because I've got loads of videos about strategies, different ways we do things, and I really want to hear from you down below in the comments about how you are coping if your child is autistic. I want to hear the good things, I want to hear the bad things, and I want to try and help you in your journey as well. So, as I said, after school activities or things on the weekend, there is nothing for children who are autistic, or where there are things, they're very few and far between. So we've gone through this journey and I've found barriers and I've had challenges, and I've spoken to groups who have told me that my son's not ready for them, or we don't have the support needed for your child, or oh, maybe come back another time. Well, those sort of comments really hit hard, and they've left me in tears as I've walked out. And it's not fair. So I'm going to start with number 1, and I'm going to tell you how I did it. Number 1 is adaptation. Whatever activities are out there, have a think about how you can suggest ways to adapt that activity to allow your child to be part of it. Now, you'll know the needs of your child, you'll know those risks, you'll know the certain things that have to be in place for your child. But often when you go to these activities, whether it's a sporting team or a theatre society, those individuals don't necessarily know what support your child needs in order for them to be included within that group. No matter if they tell you they're inclusive, they probably don't know. So to be adaptive, you need to think and possibly take those suggestions to those group to allow your child to take part. Now, the best example of this for us is swimming. So my son did swimming from a baby, and when he got to 3 years old, that was the point where he was to move from being supported by myself in the pool to going in by himself. That wasn't possible because, first of all, there's a massive safety risk about him being in the water by himself. He was unable to follow instruction and not able to partake in a group activity like that, amongst all the risks that swimming also have as well. So the only way we could do this, and I was very important, I wanted my son to be able to swim, was for me to approach that swimming pool and that organization who put on swimming lessons and say to them, right, I have a suggestion for you. I said, there's a risk here. My son can't go into the pool by himself. That is a risk for you and your insurance and your policies. And also, I have a concern as a parent. So I suggested to them, when they had no suggestions, I asked if he could stay in that previous group and I would go in the pool with him, as I had been doing so for the past few years. And if they were accepting of that, that meant my son could keep swimming and we could build up that skill and do it. And they were really accepting of that, and they agreed that that was the best thing for both parties. We adapted that activity to allow us both to be happy about it. Now, the one thing you have to do here is you have to build a thick skin, because even though Reese was 3, that was pretty much the norm. But as he got older to 4, 5, and 6, and we were still in that same group amongst the youngsters, amongst the toddlers, people are going to look at you and they are going to wonder about that. But you've got to keep that objective in your mind. I wanted my son to learn how to swim, and this was the only way that we could make it happen. Number 2 is about finding those societies and those groups that actually have that adaptation in place and the support in place that you need. So I live in the UK, I live in Wales, and there's a number of charities and societies that we approached. One is Disability Wales, which was great, and you might have somewhere else similar, within your country or your county across the UK. Also, you can approach your school to say what sort of activities could my son be involved in. Schools have knowledge about things in the local area, as well as if your child is in special provision, like my son Reese, they may have certain things that they put on that your child can take part in. You can also approach your social worker if you have one, or go on local groups, whether it's Facebook, whether it's your local directories, and see what is available to you. The one thing to remember in these different groups where the support is available or they have adapted for children and also adults is, are those adaptions in line with your child's needs? They may not be, because they cover loads of different disabilities. So go and ask those groups about what they can do and line that up with your children's needs. Also, a lot of these elements of support are limited. So you've got to ask questions about what is the process for your child to be involved, and is there certain panels that those needs have to go through and to be discussed to get things like one-to-one. But you will not know unless you ask. So find out what those sort of areas or those groups are and find out the process to get involved. Now, I'm going to use an example in this of how we have used this. Reese does football every Sunday morning, and he has a one-to-one that is teaching him skills, and they have got him on the pathway to develop him to get involved in the additional needs football team, which is fantastic. That didn't just happen. This is actually a charity that is part of Cardiff City Football Club. So again, going back to a charity. And we asked about it and we went on a waiting list in order for him to get involved in that and to be part of that. This time we didn't have to go through our social worker to get funding or support for one-to-one or through the council, but there have been other cases in different activities where we have had to do that. So we have managed through that method to get Reese involved in something like football, which is fantastic. Now, number 3 is, even if you've gone through and adapted and spoken to an organisation to make something happen for your child, or you've gone through a charity or a group that's already got that adaptation, the third thing I want you to think about is that your child has interests of their own, just like every child, or just like you and me. So your child might not want to do the activity that you've found and got all those adaptions in place, or that amazing one-to-one that you've got involved in order for them to be able to do that activity. They may not be interested. So you've got to go through trial and error and try these things out. But remember, when your child goes to it, if they are not interested or they're not excited by it, no matter what you do, you can keep trying, but they may never get excited with that activity. So you're going to have to retrace your steps, find something else, and try something differently. We have gone to not many, because there's not many out there, but we have tried a few activities, and Reese has not tried out, he's not done the certain sport, or he's not sat down at a table to do that certain arts and crafts or cultural experience, because he has just not been interested in it. It is boring for him. It does not trigger any interest for himself. But football, he is so excited to go to it. He actually has some skill there. He can dribble the ball. And that has taken a good handful of attempts to try find something that interests him. So remember that. So those are the 3 things that I have shared with you today. Adaption, looking at different things across your community and making sure they're interested in what they do. Have a try. I really want to hear below about what sort of sports or activities your children take part in. How did you manage to get them involved? And make sure you subscribe and follow more videos just like this across my channel.